Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And that step is key. In fact, what we're going to talk about today is, to the great dismay of the gun controllers across the United States, one of the fastest growing sports segments in the United States is guns in high schools. This is weird, and there's only positive outcomes. This is strange. I'm sure there's lots of little dots that we're about to connect, which you guys are going to love. So, of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And, of course, send this one out and let me know what you guys think in the comments below as we dive into this. But before we go into the actual story, I've got to take you way back into yesteryear in August when this happened. And I'm sure this has nothing to do with anything. Senate Democrat raises concerns over blocking funds for hunting archery classes. Now, this was a big stink in the rural areas that are represented by Democrats in the Senate, like Jon Tester of Montana, who we are about to cover. Yet the Savor Communities Act, passed in the Senate bipartisan fashion, really took away money through the executive bureaucracies from schools for hunting and shooting programs and archery. You guys remember all that? Well, it turns out that this was clearly not about votes or anything. This was only about what the constituents want. Or they jumped the shark to the extreme far left progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Check this out. Senator Jon Tester, Democrat Montana, sent a letter to the Department of Education on Wednesday raising concerns it is blocking funds for hunting and archery classes. Again, this is from August. Outdoor recreation is foundational to our Western way of life, and any reduction of federal support for these educational programs is unacceptable, said Tester, who is up for re-election next year. I wonder if that has anything to do with that. Well, fast forward to November. Check this out. This is what came out yesterday. Guns and ammo. One of America's fastest growing high school sports has no bench warmers. How student athletes may be the key to saving American sportsmen's legacy. Now, are we talking about baseball, football? Nope. We're talking about skeet shooting or trap shooting. We're talking about firearms. Check it. In Newport, Washington, a town of about 2,000 nestled along the Idaho border, the local sportsman club struggled with a shrinking and rapidly aging membership. Quote, if we don't do something to get younger generations involved and younger families involved, our club and our shooting sports around here, they're going to die, local high school teacher David Bradbury recalled one club member telling him around 5 years ago. So Newport followed the lead of another eastern Washington town and formed a high school trap team. Fewer than 10 students signed up that first year, but last year they had 35. Now, imagine what's happening in the mind of a gun controller near you. Wait a minute. In high school, they have a sports team that uses shotguns to shoot inanimate objects that are flying away from them in a safe and controlled manner, which leads to positives for the students themselves, positives for gun safety and responsibility. This cannot be happening. It's impossible because, after all, shotguns are all the bane of evil along with every other firearm, because that's just a relic of a bygone era. Except it's coming back. And you stack that with everything else that we've talked about recently, about how the ownership is 52% in the United States of someone or a family member who has a gun in the house. Yeah, it's on the rise. Keep it up. Let's go into this a little bit more. It was a tough sell. Hey, we have a great sport that all your kids should participate in, and everyone can be included. Nelson remembered telling the school administrators, oh, by the way, it involves a gun. Keep in mind, guys, around 60 to 70 years ago, 50 years ago, every single student had a gun in the truck because they were going hunting after school in the fall. The problem is not the inanimate objects. The problem is the morality and the ethics. We have a problem of our hearts and our minds, not what's in our hands. We've talked about it a lot. Anyway, let's keep going. Most conversations ended there, but slowly they convinced a handful of Minnesota schools to start teams in the early 2000s. Soon, neighboring states wanted to join the party, Nelson told Fox News. It is growing nationally. In fact, listen to this. This is evidence that we are doing the right steps. No matter how loud the gun controllers scream, we are making moves. The USA High School Clay Target League has now grown to include tens of thousands of students across 34 states. Quote, you don't have to be a jock, adding that around a third of Clay Target League participants don't play another sport. Kids that participate in school-sponsored sports are more likely to go to college, typically get better grades, and stay away from alcohol and drugs. Well-known facts across the board. So you're opening something up, which is a sport, to other people. The only problem for an anti-gunner is that it's got a gun in it. Doesn't matter the positives. No, it's got a gun, so we can't have that. This is bigger than just trap shooting. Understand, this is the narrative that is falling apart again and again and again. Last thing I'll show you. While Washington's trap teams tend to be located in more rural areas where hunting or target shooting aren't unheard of hobbies, there still can be a stigma for students. Quote, a lot of times school and stuff is pretty taboo against guns, Johnson said, who's one of the shooters, by the way, the trap shooters, adding that she supports her fellow high schoolers learning about gun safety so they can go out into the world not having fear of them. That is massively important. Also, not being able to be manipulated out of your gun rights by gun controllers who are filling you with propaganda. I continue. All prospective athletes have to pass a firearms safety certification program. The league hasn't had a single injury reported since its inception in 2001. Quote, you got 100 kids here walking around with guns, and that's not a worry in the world about their abilities. Every one of these kids, it's second nature to them, and that's the whole reason that I wanted to do this. Outside of the fact that the gun control narrative is falling apart, outside of the fact that freedom is ringing across this nation in big ways, this is about safety. This is about passing on a blessing that we have in this nation responsibly to the next generation. And gun controllers have spent all their time trying to undermine it. Meanwhile, not a single injury since 2001, and they're shooting guns every single day. I don't know. Do you think this is guns, or do you think this is maybe a problem with something else? What do you think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.